All right, welcome back. Bob Pompeani, Jeff Hathhorn with you at 412-575-2600. Get your calls in. We'll get them momentarily here, but I want to look at some of these other deals in the East. Again, the Penguins are treading water here as far as I'm concerned, but I will say this. If Tristan Jarry plays the way he did last night consistently throughout the rest of the season, and if they get into the playoffs that way in the playoffs, that's the best thing they can hope for, I think. Regardless of who they brought in, who they may soon bring in again with 2 days left, I don't know who it's going to be, if anyone. But if Jarry plays that way, they have a chance.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And you kind of always knew that it was going to be this group that was going to have to pull it. You know, that they weren't going to be able to bring in somebody huge because of their cap situation and who they have signed long term. I will say this. I think a lot of times we look at trades initially based on some of the wild speculation out there of JT Miller or Brock Besser or Tom Wilson, who the Capitals would have never traded to the Penguins, ever. As much as people might love that idea, that was never going to happen. So immediately you're disappointed because you thought, oh, you could have had one of those three, when the reality is probably none of those deals were ever going to happen. So I do think that is an initial reaction. We'll kind of see how this guy plays. But you're right. If Jarry isn't healthy, I mean, it won't matter anyway.
Yeah. I look at the Rangers as the team to beat. I don't care about Boston. I know how good they are. I don't care about Carolina. Ooh. When you see it, I'm telling you, when this roster comes at you with Zibanejad centering Tarasenko and Patrick Kane, and then your second line is Vincent Trocheck with Chris Kreider and Artemi Panarin, and then you have Philip Hedl in the middle of Capo Caco and Lafreniere. Tyler Mott's a nasty guy they just brought to the fourth line. I don't think you're going to find a deeper, better team. Meantime, let's go to the lines. A lot of people want to talk here, Jeff, beginning with, who's on line 3, Hannah, in South Park? I can't read this. Is it Dan? Sam. Hey, Sam, what's up?
Yeah, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. I just think that Tristan Jarry could play the best hockey he ever could play. It isn't going to matter. The Penguins are going to get pounded in the playoffs. They have no physical player to retaliate or at least help. Burke and Hextall should both be let go, along with Sullivan. There is no physicality in that during the playoffs. They're going to get pounded no matter what happens, and it's a joke. Hextall with his knife going to gunfight with knives. It's a joke. He did nothing.
Sam, I will say this. If they don't make the playoffs, I think there will be changes. And I think Hextall will be the man out, number one. I'm not sure about Brian Burke because I still don't know to what degree he has influence here on what goes on in some of these decisions. But you're right. They talked about being more physical, Jeff. Specifically, Brian Burke did. And what have they done? Not much. As you said, Granlund's more of a skater than he is a physical player. And then they wanted Jacob Chychrun. You can like him or not, but he's not really that way. He's a puck-moving defenseman. At some point, you do need a physical element to your game as things get tight in the playoffs, and they just don't have it.
And, you know, sometimes you can have physicality as a group, but I don't even think this group is that type of team where they can make up for it by, you know, a bunch of different guys that can wear you down with hits. I just don't see that from this team. Listen, Jeff Carter was their big guy, and he's their big size guy. And unfortunately, you know, his game has just deteriorated. Can he find something? I don't know, maybe in the playoffs, and a big Jeff Carter would be huge for them. But they were in a tough spot anyway. Let's be real. They brought back their core, but this is not the same Penguin group of 16, 17, 17, 18. They're not at that same point in their careers. They're not in the same point with some young talent. I mean, what is it, Jake Gensel? Isn't he the last guy that they've drafted that's on their team? I mean, it's been that long since they've had a draft pick land. How can you continue to build your team if you don't hit on any of these young guys?
Yeah, you got to do it, much like Tampa has done. Tampa did it. You can say what you want, but Breezewall, their general manager, he's hit on second, third, fifth round picks who've come up and make a contribution to that Lightning team. And when you have top-end talent, of course it's nice to have Andrei Vasilevsky, but you still need to bring players in, and they've gotten a lot of mileage out of guys like, you know, Russ was a third-round pick, Gensel a third-round pick. You need that. You got to have people coming out of nowhere. We'll see what this sixth-round pick that they got out of, you know, Vegas is going to ever do. It just doesn't seem like it's help at all for now. All right, let's go back. We got Matt in. Where is Matt? I can't read that. I'm sorry. Sarver. So far away, I can't see. What's up, Matt?
Hi. You know, I'm talking about the pit game. How do you lose to the worst ACC team, you know, Notre Dame? And how are you going to beat Miami? They can't seem to beat teams away.
Well, they've beaten some teams away this year. They beat North. Here's the thing about tonight. As Jeff said, it was all set up for this. Mike Bray, the emotion, they brought so many guys back. All of these guys on the floor were his selections, nurtured by him, developed by him, and they played for him tonight. They did. But Pitt got away from what they were doing. They were ball watching too much for me, Jeff.
And then they didn't make shots. And listen, this team, they have 7 road wins in the ACC?
Right.
That's a pretty good run in conference play to have that type of road win. I know it's upsetting. And, something Curtis Aiken pointed out on the radio broadcast before, Notre Dame had 7 games where they lost by 4 points or fewer.
Yeah.
So I think it might be a little skewed that Notre Dame was just this god-awful, horrible team. I think they were just a team that couldn't finish games.
Emmett joins us right now in Gibsonia. What's up, Emmett? How are you?
Real well, Bob. How are you and Jeff?
We're doing okay.
Good.
Hi. I'm curious about Omar Khan's first 3 picks. Now, if I am a Penn State alum, but I would not draft Joey Porter Jr. I would not try to make up for the undoings that Kevin Colbert had at cornerback, even dating back to Detroit when he took that corner 7th overall. What I would do was take the center, lock it up with Pickens, first round. At 32 overall, trade that. Trade that for next year, a second rounder next year for a glaring weakness. I know that's what Bill Belichick would do. I would go D end to O-line either way in the second round if I kept that pick. What do you guys think?
I would go O-line first, and if I can move up to get the guy I'm looking for in the top 10, I'll do it. And they shouldn't be afraid of moving into the top 10 just because the last time they do it, it resulted in Devin Bush, Jeff. I think offensive line still is my number 1 issue.
I am less afraid of drafting a corner than I am of trading up. I think this team has too many holes to fill. Omar Khan said it yesterday that there are a lot of opportunities to get better in this draft. Don't lessen one of them by trading up. I am not for that. To me, if I could pick anybody in the first round that would be around at 17, I think defensive line would be where I would go. Although I'll say this, I haven't heard many bad things about Joey Porter. People might be skewed because of his father. Listen, this guy can play the game. He did a great job in the Big Ten.
Yeah, coverage-wise, he was on top of things. He didn't make interceptions necessarily, which is why he's probably a cornerback. But the thing is, he can stick with you, and he has big reach. There are a lot of things to like about him. I don't know if I'd make that my number 1 priority, though.
If he's there, man, that's really tempting. But I think here's the beauty. They have needs at so many other positions that they can really see, okay, who's the best guy on our board at 17?
Let's go out to Stan real quick, who joins us in West Mifflin before we go to break. Hey, Stan. Hello, Stan. Are you there?
Yeah, hey, Bob. I just wanted to say I'm 34 years old. I grew up in this city. I love this town, in Pitt basketball, Penguins, Steelers, everything. I'm just you have to really appreciate everything that, this city has done for us. And I think a lot of people are taking this stuff for granted, that we've been in playoffs for 17 years. We've been in, Super Bowls. We've been in, Pitt basketball, everything, and everyone.
This is the different kind of world, Stan, as you know. It's all, what have you done for me lately? And there's a lot of social media hate out there. We got to go to break on that note, Jeff. We'll talk about it when we come back. And we'll get an update from Ken Rice about what's on tonight at 11 on KDKA. Back right after this.